Hello and welcome back to the American Ultra Stock channel. If you're new around here, welcome. We're bringing to you guys, as you see on Braden's background, it's a bit of a giveaway on what we do here. It's our segment that analyzes and reviews. It's the Stock Watch, where we pick the players who, the most relevant moments really, from players who raised their stock or lowered it based on their performances. So between a lot of action that happened, it's the end of the season. Braden, straight to the point. The top thing, the most relevant thing that you thought happened over the weekend, is it a stock up or a stock down?
Yeah, starting off with a stock up, and I'm going to pick not just one player, but a group of players. It's the PSV boys, finally clinching PSV's 25th Eredivisie title, an incredible achievement for the club, and they did it in dominating fashion, only losing one game all season in the league to Feyenoord, as well as losing to them in the cup, but realistically that doesn't matter too much. A good run in the Champions League as well, narrowly going out to Dortmund in the round of 16, who not only look like they are probably going to make the final, or at least lose closely to PSG, an incredible season for Dortmund. But honestly, I thought PSV were probably the better team overall in that tie. It just couldn't finish some key chances. So I think it really shows the quality that they have. This past weekend, even Pepe coming on, getting an assist, his first goal contribution in a while. And maybe he'll even be playing more in the next couple of games, because they've already clinched the title and Luke de Jong went off injured, which is why Pepe came on. So hopefully he can get a more extended run for the last couple of games of the season. But overall, an incredible achievement. I think combined, this number might not be completely spot on, but I think the USMNT boys for PSV have 44 goal contributions in total, and that's just in the league, not counting the Champions League or anything. So it really shows how much of a key part they were to the PSV dominance. And credit to another American, Ernie Stewart, for bringing them all in, but not only them, just constructing this amazing team that is one of the most dominant we've seen in the Eredivisie for a long time. I think it shows that maybe Americans can be competent when it comes to running clubs. So just another win there. And Richie Ledesma, we see you. And you didn't really get any recognition from the USMNT accounts, but we saw you with your American flag, the Mexican-American dual national, obviously, proudly repping the country. So shout out to Ledesma for being there as well.
Yeah, I mean, huge shout out to him. Did go unnoticed, and also to Ernie Stewart. The dance moves, man, pretty decent too. You can see it's such a nice environment as opposed to SSF. But anyways, moving on to my most relevant pick right here. It's nice that we come towards the end of the season and can pick some of the main players shining. I think Pulisic, again, getting a really nice assist, a really nice one to combine with Giroud. I think they had such a good understanding. Maybe it's from their time with Chelsea, but really nice moment for him. And again, I want to emphasize how important it is for Pulisic to wear the tapes on the wristbands, because any winger that wears those immediately gets a little bit faster, more skillful. It's a known fact. That's why every Brazilian winger ever wears wristbands. So props to Pulisic for catching on to that. Really nice assist, great game from him. And I think it kind of caps off a really remarkable season where he really does come back. It's the comeback season we all wanted. So I think it's really relevant. It's a really nice tone for him to end the season on. Granted, he has an opportunity to add a few more to his tally this season. Moving on to the second most relevant thing, Braden, is it another positive?
Oh, you said it's nice to pick some of our main players shining, but unfortunately, I'm going to pick a main player here, but it's going to be for a stock down. It's going to be Weston McKennie, mainly because his future is kind of in doubt. He does have a contract with Juventus through the end of next season, but from what it looks like, there's a lot of uncertainty around him signing a new deal. He said he wants to stay at the club. He's happy there, but the talks have broken down a little bit, and there's been a lot of links, including one that he posted on his own Facebook. Well, he didn't post it. He got hacked, but a picture of him in a Man United kit saying, "I'm here." So a stock down for his cybersecurity as well. Need to get that sorted out. But I just think his future is a little uncertain, and if United is going to be the move, going back to the Prem where he had his worst ever season, even though it was only half a season with a pretty bad Leeds team, it just doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. I'd love to see him stay at Juventus for even longer, maybe even change some of the Italian Juventus fans' opinions on him, because for whatever reason, some of them don't seem to like him, despite him being probably their best midfielder this season, maybe second behind the likes of Rabiot, maybe Locatelli. But I think he's been integral to Allegri's system. It's just the uncertainty around his future, I think, has to provide a stock down. And I do think he has cooled off a little bit. I thought he was good in his last game over this weekend, but before that, there was a couple of games where he was a little bit absent. So I think it has to be a slight stock down.
Yeah, never nice to have that much doubt going into the summer. But another player that's not really a main player, but it's kind of a fringe player really for us. My stock down is going to go for Brendan Vasquez. Started the season in red hot form. We all thought, yeah, it's not the ideal move. The guy was linked to going to Borussia Mönchengladbach last summer, ended up at Monterrey. And now 1 goal in 5 against Necaxa in a beating down. Really, they beat them 5-2. And yeah, I think that just 1 goal in the last 5 matches, it's not nice to see. The goal contributions typically come just with a goal, so it doesn't show much versatility for him there. I think he's a good striker. I would love to see him with the Olympic squad if we were to call an overage striker. But I think that the form has dipped down, and them getting out in the Champions Cup against Columbus Crew, who I think that Monterrey squad really can have a hard look at themselves and think they should have done better. I think it's a stock down for Vasquez, which is sad to see, but hopefully he somehow still gathers interest from Europe and makes that move at some point in his career. Moving on to the third most relevant thing, Braden.
Yeah, so for number 3, I'm going to pick back to the stock ups. It's going to be my boy Brendan Aronson coming off the bench for Union Berlin at halftime and completely changing the game. And not just him as well. All the subs that came on at halftime, he got an assist, a really, really nice assist as well to Hollerback. But the other 2 subs that came on at halftime as well, Chris Bedia and Jorg Vertessen, both scored. So 3 goal contributions from 3 subs at halftime. It makes you wonder, maybe if they had started the match, Union Berlin would have ended up winning and not been in the position that they see themselves in now, only 1 point ahead of the relegation qualification playoffs that they would play against whoever finishes 3rd in the 2nd Bundesliga. I think they'll be fine regardless, even if they do finish in that spot. But it's just a little disappointing. There was a pretty decent run of form when the new manager, Nenad Bjelica, came in, but it's cooled off. They've been horrible as of recently. And this was such a winnable game at home against Bochum, another team that were in the relegation battle, have gotten themselves out of it by winning this game. But it's so winnable. You need to pick up 3 points. It would be a stock down for the club, but fortunately for us, we're on USMNT player performances, and I thought Aronson was fantastic, so it's going to be a stock up. Hopefully he can get back in the starting lineup next week.
Nice ones to see. It would be nice to see him end the season on a high and go to Copa America with the mentality that we need him to be. I think he's the best sub that we have in terms of impacting the game. Moving on to my third pick right here, it's going to be a player that's also going to be active for us during the summer, but in the Olympics. Again, I'm picking Griffin Yao. If you have the opportunity, go watch the St. Truden and Westerlo extended highlights on YouTube. We had 3 Americans playing. Cave, who doesn't really get any attention. Brian Reynolds and Griffin Yao. Yao, again, gets another assist against a really good team. I think it's so nice to see how much he has flourished this season. If you watch the way he's played, silky smooth. Did get dispossessed a few times, but he tried going forward every single time, and it worked. He got an assist, and it's a nice draw for them, a respectable result for Westerlo. I think that just staying up, it's a bonus for them, but the form that Yao has been this season, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a move during the summer. He'll be vital for us in the Olympics, in my opinion. Now, moving on to your 4th pick, Braden.
So for number 4, unfortunately, we're going to have to go back to the stock down. And this one really hurts because it's a player that I've been high on for a while now. It's going to be Max Dietz. Luckily, the stock down isn't because of anything form related, although I do think him and Greuther Fürth as a whole have kind of slipped off in the second half of the season. They were really strong in the first half. But this past weekend against Eintracht Braunschweig, Johan Gomez's team from the Olympic team as well, actually, he ended up having to get subbed off after only 6 minutes due to an injury. I haven't seen any official update. It doesn't look like it's too serious. I'm holding out hope that he'll be back for sure in time for the Olympics, because I do think he's probably the main contender for the underage center back that's going to be taken. I do still maintain the belief that 2 of the 3 overage spots will be used on center backs, and with only 18 players getting called up in the roster, it'll probably only be 3 center backs as total. So that leaves 1 spot for the people who are age eligible. I think Dietz, if he's healthy, is the one I would take personally. I guess if Jalen Neal is back, he just came back for Galaxy. If he's in good form, maybe he has consideration as well. George Campbell's in there too. But for me, I'd still take Dietz. But seeing him get injured with just a couple games left in the season it's not good. It's a little concerning because you want to remain match fit ahead of a potential huge competition this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to my fourth pick, it's another stock down as well, following the trend here. One up, one down. It's going to be a player that played in the match that I just mentioned. It's going to be Brian Reynolds. Talking about the overage players, I don't think that his position, the right back, is he doesn't really feel pressure because he's the only one that really plays there. I think Nathan Harriel, honestly, in my opinion, could have a shout to play because I'll just say anytime I watch Westerlo, unfortunately, I haven't seen a good Brian Reynolds performance all season, really. I don't think he ever had a good match this season. He had some solid ones, okay. But every game, I feel like his wing is in such a detrimental position because of him, because of how much he suffers. At this level with the Belgian league, let's say it's not the highest, it's a technical league, but you're not facing any world beaters there. And over the summer, we're going to play against France. We saw how we went during that friendly that we had. I think that I would really like if we could call someone that could be versatile and play in that position as well over wage. I don't think it will happen, but it's a stock down because, again, I don't think that Reynolds has played well against any of the top sides. Anytime he comes across them, he does falter. So it's a stock down for Reynolds there. I hope that he turns around his career, but again, I don't think I've seen him have a good match the entire season, and I watch them a lot. Now, moving on to the last one.
For my last one, whenever I have an opportunity to pick a Union player or a Union product, I have to. And Jack McGlynn might be the most deserving stock up out of anyone this past week. There was a really weird situation with the game midweek against the Sounders getting resumed. It got postponed a while back due to horrible pitch conditions. Basically, they were playing in a monsoon, but it got resumed. And he scored a banger in that game, trying to lead a second half comeback. It did end up falling short. But then this past week against DC United, if you haven't seen his goal, go watch it. It's one of the best goals you'll see all year. And there's no bias coming from that. From way outside the box on his wand of a left foot, just taking a shot, so much curve on the ball. It basically knuckled everywhere, went into the top corner. One of the best goals you'll see, although basically we know MLS. It's the average MLS goal. And bangers happen every game in that league. But McGlynn has to be a stock up for me. He's in the form of his life going into the Olympics this summer. He should be on the roster. I really hope he's on the roster. He hasn't shown any reason why he shouldn't be. He's been one of the best players for the Union all season, very consistent. And I'm going to give a shout out as well to the whole Union Academy because there were two players this past weekend that actually ended up signing homegrown deals as well with the first team. David Vasquez, if you guys have been watching U.S. Youth National Team camps for a while, you'll probably know him, was at the U17 World Cup, started for the most part in that tournament, was in the last U19 camp as well. Will probably be at the U20 CONCACAF Championship this summer, which we will be covering. So stay tuned for that this summer, as well as obviously Copa and the Olympics. And then Andrew Rick as well, the goalkeeper coming up from Union 2. His hand was kind of forced because in MLS there's a pretty dumb rule, to be honest, where if you get called up to the first team and you're not on a first team contract more than 4 times, you are legally required to sign a first team deal, which is not the best of rules, but it ended up working out for Rick, who's been a superb goalkeeper, the 18-year-old in MLS Next Pro, and very deserving of his first team deal. Also, news came out that Kevin Sullivan has reportedly signed his homegrown deal, just waiting on an official announcement that hopefully will be coming in the coming weeks. But if that is true, that's three homegrown deals from one club in the same week, which is kind of unheard of, and it just speaks volumes as to how talented the Union Academy is.
And then he can get announced as a new signing going to City for the 40th time of the season. But moving on to props to the Philly Academy. Moving on to my last pick. Well, it's a bit of a cheat but also part of the reason why we're releasing this video the day we are. We had Chris Richards today, and he had an assist. Make what you will, it's against Man United, but also a very solid performance, although that United side is very funny to watch, for me at least. But it's nice how many minutes Richards has had. I think looking back at where his career was in January, December, and how he's ending the season, What a nice comeback, really. I think he's really adjusted well there. The fans really like him as well. Feeling really comfortable on the ball. I feel like under pressure, he's making better decisions as well. We can only benefit from that during the summer, and let's hope that he hits really good form by then. Now, that brings us to the ones to watch for the week, Braden. We always pick two players for those of you might be new to the channel. One that is a main player everyone knows, and one that might go under the radar. Who are your picks, Braden?
So I'm going to start with the sleeper picks because it's the only one that I actually picked players for. It's going to be two players, actually. The EFL boys. We'll start with the main one, Just Sargent. He's going to be playing in the championship playoffs first leg this Sunday against Leeds. I mean, we all know Leeds and their beef with Americans, so it'd be really, really nice to see Sargent get one in a crucial game against them. Norwich are considered the form team going into the playoffs, but in all honesty, their form hasn't been great. I think none of the teams going into the playoffs are really in great form at all. Maybe West Brom being the one that looked the best as of recently, but I think there's a very big opportunity for Norwich to go and beat Leeds, even though we all saw the season Leeds had. Very unlucky to not end up getting promoted automatically, but honestly, I think they're there for the taking. And with Sargent's form, since he came back from injury, he should be a key part. And if they do win, expect to see him either on the score sheet, maybe providing an assist, but he's going to be crucial if they are to end up winning the first leg and then the second leg next week, and hopefully end up going to the playoffs, the playoff final at Wembley. And then there's another one that probably a lot of people don't know in the League Two playoffs. As this video comes out, I think their first leg is going to start in about an hour. It's Jeremy Kelly from Crawley Town playing there. He signed in January from USL, Memphis 901 FC. I think he's been very, very good. 2 assists in his last 2 games. He's getting into form at the right time. Should be a key part of their team going into the playoffs against the most hated team in the EFL, MK Dons, the franchise club. Like I said, their first leg is going to be, as this video comes out, if you're somehow watching in the first hour, well, thank you for clicking so quickly, but go watch the game if you can. It starts at 2:30 Eastern time on Tuesday, and the second leg as well will be on Thursday, unless it gets postponed, because the first leg did get postponed one day due to a waterlogged pitch, so maybe the second leg will be back a day as well. But both legs of the semifinal will be this week, so if you can, go watch that. It'll be on ESPN+. Try to support the Americans, and an incredible story from Crawley Town as well. And then for my main player to watch, I said I didn't pick a player. It's going to be the whole competition, the US Open Cup, because I think now more than ever, it's so important to support the biggest competition for soccer and the oldest in our country. The MLS teams, the 8 that are actually competing, obviously we wish that all of them were, but the ones that are there are going to be coming into the competition this week. On Tuesday and Wednesday. A lot of key matchups. One MLS Next Pro team is even left, NYCFC 2, so props to them for making it this far. You can get a good look at a lot of very talented young players on that team as well. A lot of high-quality USL teams as well. And I know our friend Thomas from TLFC that we've had on the channel, he'll be at the Orange County game. It'll be today as the video goes up. I'll be at the Indy 11 game on Wednesday, so if you see either of us, make sure to say hi. But if you have a USL team that's going to be playing in the Open Cup, make sure to support them, because we made a video recently about that whole MLS versus USL situation. The USL clubs really need our support right now.
Absolutely nice. Props to you for showing some love to that competition. I feel like it really doesn't get talked about enough. And moving on to my ones to watch. Well, you picked an entire competition. I have to pick one too then. I'll say Serie B because, well, we have Christopher Lund, who I think has the most crucial game, even though Venezia technically can still go up automatically. I'm certainly hoping they do. But that opportunity to scratch off one game in the playoffs is really, really crucial, really. The playoffs for Serie B are a little bit different, so if you're placed a little bit above, you get the opportunity to skip a game and face whoever played in the game prior. I think that Palermo have been very underwhelming. I picked them to finish 4th or 5th at the beginning of the season. They had some really bad form, still very shaky at the back, very, very shaky. But I think that also, if you want to tune into the Venezia game, it should be an easy win, really. They got a nice send-off from home, and I think that form might still be really important as well, since we would go to the playoffs. It would be just one game, but really important for Venezia as well to finish the season on a high. I thought if they weren't robbed, they definitely could have been up there. But Anyways, tune into Serie B. I think it's a very action-packed one. And also there's Gioacchini. He might find himself being a Serie A level player with Como. I hope they don't, and he goes to the playoffs. But I'm picking that entire competition as a sleeper pick. And then the main one is kind of a sleeper one as well. It's Cameron Carter-Vickers. We know he's had a bit of a shaky season, but Greg did mention that he wasn't called up just because of injury. Well, now he's playing, so this should be an indication that he will be involved in the Copa America. So tune in to watch the only meaningful and relevant game that he can have all season, apart from getting his lap in the Champions League, which is the Old Firm against Rangers. If they win the game, they clinch the title. So definitely a massive game. What a nice game that Celtic and Rangers always is. If not on the pitch, it does bring the atmosphere, a lot of cards as well, so all very entertaining. But thank you so much for watching this far along into the video. We really appreciate all of you guys. Make sure to stay tuned as we have some really exciting content coming up. Make sure to comment down below your main picks for the week, the players that impressed you or not, and who are you going to be tuning in to watch towards the end of the season. Let's hope that all the Americans do well. Leave a like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you next time.